everybody. My name is Marnie Peel, and I'm the Communications Director with AARP North Dakota, and I am super happy to be here with you today for another edition of All Things AARP North Dakota. We are going to be talking about all kinds of fascinating things today. We're going to talk about what's happening in the community, what's happening from an advocacy perspective, and some always special info that we give at the end. But to kick things off, we want to get right into AARP North Dakota in your community. And today we're going to be talking to my friend here, Katie Johnke, who has been patient and present with us as we have worked through some technical issues this morning. And we're really excited because we're doing a program together next week, Grandparenting in the Now, and we're going to give you just a little sneak peek of the information about that, insights, what we'll be talking about, and then we've got some other things we want to talk about that are really tied to that, I think. But Katie, maybe you could just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, thank you for having me today. So I'm Katie Johnke. I'm the Nutrition Services Coordinator for Bismarck Burleigh Public Health, so a department within the city of Bismarck. And my work just is in the community and making our community livable and a healthy place for all. And so I work in a lot of different capacities, basically from preschool all the way up to older adults and anything in between. I really focus on in the built environment and how we can support healthy living and making it a natural fit for our lifestyle.
And weren't you just milking cows or making butter earlier?
I was at a preschool for dairy education, and I was a dairy cow, and we made butter. So it was, like I said, from young to older adults, and I really enjoy the work that I do.
Well, yeah, it's a pretty big job making it a healthier community for everybody. That's important work, and we appreciate it. So we, again, have this Grandparenting in the Now is what we're calling it. And so my children are 22, and then I have twins that are 17. And even in that time, car seat safety's changed. Nutrition advice has changed. How kids sleep has changed in that time. And I think when you get to a certain age and you become a grandparent, you're there, you've got all the love, you've got all the desire, but you don't always know all the latest tips and tricks. And that's a lot what we're going to be talking about, right?
Yes, absolutely. And we understand that as a grandparent, obviously you've raised children. This is not your first rodeo. You've had experience, has successfully raised your own kids. And we don't want to take away from that, but there are a lot of recommendations that have changed, even, again, since I was a child. And even some of the things from when my kids, and I have a 5, 7, 9-year-old. Yeah. So thinking about those ages and just the differences in how we do things. And so, yeah, we'll be talking about safe sleep practices, how to support breastfeeding, because there are different things that you can do as a grandparent in supporting a breastfed infant and baby, and then the mother, car seat safety and differences, and what are the rules and regulations that the North Dakota law sets for us. So.
Yeah, and those are tricky things, and they're kind of detailed too. And I want to say I love this idea of caring for the caregiver, which will kind of segue into other things. But when I had my babies and I breastfed, the best thing that happened was my mother and my mother-in-law would do all the laundry and prepare the meals while I did that work, because it's hard work, and the support is just everything.
Absolutely. And I don't want to give away the whole presentation, but one of the themes that we do share related to breastfeeding, and the work that I do for breastfeeding is in the community. I will have a co-presenter with me who is an IBCLC and focuses more on that one-on-one.
What's an IBCLC?
International Board Certified Lactation Counselor, where I'm just a certified lactation counselor, which is just a board certified test that allows you to provide breastfeeding education to moms. But the work that I do serves the community, and how we as a community or as a friend, as a grandparent, can support breastfeeding moms. When you're out, in the park, letting her just be and breastfeed her child. But really the theme that we use a lot is your support matters. Yes. And you being anybody. Right. Anybody's support can really make a difference, whether it's in the work site, at a restaurant, just anywhere in the community.
And that's just one of the things we'll be covering. So, and we'll go into, there's diagrams and there's kind of the facts and figures and the most important things. So it's an hour next week on Wednesday, August 2nd at 10 a.m. and it's online. And so if you haven't registered, it's easy to register. You can see on the screen, register for a class, and just spend that hour just so you know what you're doing. And even if it's already happened, or it's coming up, or it's sometime down the road, which I hope it's sometime down the road for me, but it's an exciting time, and you want to be as well prepared as you can. But one of the things that we wanted to sort of segue into a little bit today too is that as a public health entity, you you help health like the whole gamut. I mean, the whole thing. And caregiving is really a circle because there are so many people who are not only having the joy of caring for grandchildren, helping out, being that support, but they're also caring for aging parents or spouses or partners or loved ones who need care as they're going through, and that is hard as well, and that's a lot of work, and sometimes that's a long-term commitment, or sometimes it's an immediate health need that just maybe lasts for some time. And I know there's some supports around that, Katie, and I thought maybe you could talk a little bit about what resources Bismarck Burleigh Public Health offers for caregiving overall.
So we have a couple of different areas that we can support. So we have two of our programs. We have many programs through Bismarck Burleigh, but we have our home health maintenance program, and that program is really meant to restore, maintain health in the home. So keeping individuals in their home.
A big goal of AARPs as well, I want to say.
Aging in place and thriving. And so whether that is a long-term chronic condition that they're dealing with, or maybe it is a short-term issue that just requires some additional nursing support or social services work. So we do provide that service. There is, some criteria that needs to be assessed, but basically if you live for Bismarck Burleigh, if you live in Bismarck or Burleigh County, you can be served through that home health program. And so, I mean, if that's something that you see a need for, whether it's you personally or if it's somebody that you know, you can always call our office and see if it's a fit for you.
So some of the things they offer, I mean, is it those things like the bars on your, or is it more like coming in and caring for people, or is it a combination?
It could be all of those things, and connecting you with services if you do need some of those additional services, such as what you just shared. While we might not provide the direct service, that's where that social service piece comes in, and we can connect you then with the entities that can support you that way.
Well, and it's so interesting because my mother's 83 and she lives alone, and she is so proactive about making sure she has all of the pieces that ensure she's going to be able to keep doing that. But a lot of people say, no, I'm fine. And so I think part of that too, and I bet you can help with this, is having hard conversations a little bit. Yes. I bet you hear from people who want their older loved one to have these things, but they are really resisting.
And we have a really great home health maintenance nursing staff that actually have had many years of service within Bismarck Burleigh Public Health. And have a great relationship with their clients, and then also the agencies around town that can support aging in place and doing so in a healthful way.
Well, I really appreciate that about your organization, all of the work that you do. AARP has a lot of resources for caregiving as well, and just one of those, and I think we've got there's the larger site, which is at aarp.org/caregiving, and there are a lot of resources, and I know public health goes back and forth. You work with Extension, AARP. We are all trying to make sure that people get the resources they need, no matter where they come from. So that is a beautiful thing. Is there anything else, Katie, that you want to make sure people know about caregiving, or what they, how to find what they need?
You mentioned Extension, and NDSU Extension is a big partner of mine with the work that I do related to healthy living. Also is a great resource for our state, and then every county has access to extension services as well across North Dakota, which is wonderful and makes the state of North Dakota very unique in that sense. But they do have a program, and a little plug for Extension is Powerful Tools for Caregivers, and it's a 6-week and they've moved online program that is meant for caregivers to go through so that they can understand, again, how to have those hard conversations, how to take care of themselves, because obviously we know when you're caring for others, sometimes your health and priorities go by the wayside, and that should not be the case. Put your oxygen mask on first, because if you can't take care of yourself, how are you going to care for somebody else? And so that's really a priority. Just going through some of the financial parts of caring for others. And so it's a really informative class that is held online. And actually there are several that are starting up here in August, and those can be accessed by searching NDSU Extension Powerful Tools for Caregivers, and it will bring you to a link for more information and registration. And so I'm not associated with that program, but I know that's something they offer, and as a partner of Extension, I did want to plug that because there has been a lot of success with that class.
Good. I love that because it's on the ground. It's kind of why AARP also has state offices, so we can provide those, which brings me a little bit to my next piece here, where we're going to talk about some of the work we do both at the federal level and at the state level to support caregiving. And I'm going to, at this moment, hand it off to Josh Aspvig.
Me? You're going to hand it off to me?
I'm very relieved we can hear you based on our technical difficulties.
Well, thanks, Katie, for being with us today. And thank you, Marnie. Marnie gave me the task of providing some advocacy updates and do this. I greatly appreciate Katie talking about the resources they have for grandparents, grandparenting. But we also know that every day in America, there's 48 million family caregivers who assist their older parents, spouses, siblings, grandparents, or other loved ones so they can live independently in their homes where they want to be. And we know nationally that family caregivers provide over $600 billion in unpaid labor, saving taxpayers those dollars. And without them, America's healthcare and long-term care systems would collapse. Caregiving affects Americans from all walks of life. 1 in 5 voters are family caregivers, and 78% have been, are, or will be a caregiver. And that includes 62,000 North Dakotans like myself, and probably many of you watching this that provide 58 million hours of care in North Dakota alone. And so fighting for this constituency has been an important priority for AARP, and it's got broad political appeal across social, economic, cultural, and political lines. And as we mentioned, it touches nearly every family. And AARP is pleased that the bipartisan Assisting Caregivers Today, or ACT caucus, has been relaunched in Congress. It's been relaunched in the Senate by Senator Michael Bennet from Colorado and Senator Shelley Moore Capito from West Virginia. And in the House by Representative Jen Kiggins from Virginia and Debbie Dingell from Michigan. And the ACT caucus really aims to provide education about the challenges family caregivers face and advocates for policies that support them. AARP is looking forward to working with the ACT caucus members to continue raising awareness of the value of family caregivers and the need to find common sense solutions that will provide support to help their loved ones live independently at their home. Congress is about to take a recess for the month of August. That means Senators Hoeven and Kramer and Congressman Armstrong are going to be back home. We're working to get meetings with them and going to be encouraging them to join this bipartisan ACT caucus and show support for family caregivers. And so if you or a loved one have a caregiving story to share with our congressional delegation, if you're interested in learning more, I encourage you to reach out to Janelle Mose, who's our advocacy director at jmose@aarp.org. As those get scheduled, we'd love to learn more about your story and your family caregiving journey, and maybe getting a chance to share it with our congressional delegation. So those will be coming up soon. In addition, just quickly, also, if you're interested in learning more about the ACT caucus, the Assisting Caregivers Today caucus, or a recent executive order from the president directing the federal government to take key steps to support family caregivers, there is a toll-free caregiving telephone town hall for volunteers coming up on August 1st at 3 p.m. Central Time. The toll-free call-in number is scrolling across the bottom of your screen. It's 877-209-3531. Again, 877-209-3531. Marnie, Katie, I think I covered the advocacy stuff for this week's All Things AARP North Dakota. I'm going to pitch it back to you. As you know, for those of you wondering, I'm not there because I'm actually up at the North Dakota State Fair hanging out with family and doing some stuff. And so that's also why we got started late, my technical difficulties on my end. So back to you. And I just want to do one other thing quickly while I get a chance. Katie gave a shout out to the Powerful Tools for Family Caregivers from North Dakota Extension. I want to do the same. I've actually taken that class. I have some family caregiving experience as well, and it is one of the best classes I've ever taken in terms of helping you think through how you can approach doing that caregiving. So shout out, Katie. Thanks for shouting it out as well. And I'm looking forward to learning more next week at the event with you all as well. So Marnie, back to you.
All right. Well, we just have one little bit to wrap it up, and it's we call it the AARP North Dakota add-on, but it's really kind of a pile-on because it's a continuation of what we've been talking about. It's really that we've got all of the resources that Bismarck Burleigh Public Health has. We have those national resources that we talked about, the aarp.org/caregiving, but we also have North Dakota specific resources on the AARP website, and you can see that right on the screen. We shortened it up to be a much shorter link, and if you type that in, you'll get to the North Dakota Caregiving resources on the AARP North Dakota site that really just connect you with all the things we've talked about today, as well as many, many other organizations. And it's everything from creating care plans to the long-term care calculator and costs. What does that look like? How to have hard conversations, family caregiver burnout and conflict, because those are pieces of this that people don't want to talk about, but they happen. So there's the good and the bad, but it's never wrong to be prepared. And so that is what our add-on is about today, is go and check out that site, and you can see all of the good information out there. Get connected. Remember, August 1st, it's a big week next week for caregiving, the whole gamut. So you have August 1st is that telephone town hall that Josh mentioned. August 2nd is our Grandparenting in the Now, where you'll get all those tips and tricks to be the very best grandparent you can be, supporting your people on every level. And that's really it. So I'm always happy when we're within the time frame that I've designated. I never think these should be longer than 20 minutes. So I'm very happy this morning. Katie, thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate having you here, and thank everyone who is watching, whether it's live or later. And tune in next time we do all things AARP North Dakota. We're going to talk about livable communities. We're going to talk about walkability. We've got some really neat volunteers in West Fargo who are doing great work where they're figuring out how to make it a place where you can walk more easily and have a little bit better experience in the community. And there's a lot to learn there. So we'll have Lana Rakow and or Kathy Schwan with us next week or next time on August 10th. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being with us. We'll see you on August 10th. Bye.